That would be.
You hold the brigand in a vice-tight arm lock and demand to know who sent him here to ambush you. No one has sent me, he pleads. No one at all. I was planning on robbing me a few acolytes, that's all. Someone has golden trinkets that's worth of cash in Vagovar. This trail's been good to me. It's sent me some rich pickings in the past month or so. We weren't after you in particular. You just happened to come riding past, that's all. Your kind senses inform you that he's speaking the truth. He and his band of robbers have been waylaying acolytes of Vashna who have traveled this route over the past few weeks. Without slacking your grip, you ask him what he knows about them. They've been preparing something over on the... he says, but he ceases to speak the moment he sees a group of his men emerge from his running. You're in for it now, he hisses. My men are going to do for you good and proper. Another 6 of the captain's men step from out of the trees and begin to move towards you, their swords held ready to strike. Rather than stand 5 of them, you shove the captain away and take to your heels, pausing only to snatch up his satchel as you make your escape. Screaming curses and promising you a slow death, the captain scrambles to his feet and leads his men in a chase, but you're soon lost among the dense pines, and reluctantly he orders his henchmen to give up their pursuit. When you sense it is safe to do so, you stop to catch your breath and examine the content of the satchel, which you empty out onto the ground. It contains the following items: 80 gold crowns, enough food for 3 meals, 3 arrows, a bottle of wine, a spyglass, and a ruby ring.
Quite a lot of items we have here. I still say the gold crowns was 80, but that is more than we can carry, so...
yeah, just take what you can, and leave the rest.
We don't need a spyglass, we have telescopic vision, so...
Well, that is true.
Well, we fill our pockets with the gold, and the ruby ring...
well, and I guess you don't want the food, because, well, you usually have enough as it is. So I guess that leaves the 3 arrows, which I assume you'll just be taking.
Yes.
And then there's just the ruby ring left.
And that's a special item. Let's take it. What is it?
It doesn't say anything about special items, so I will assume it goes into the backpack.
Alright, just let me add ruby ring. It does not say if it is just a ruby ring or if it has a gold band or something like that.
Nope, it just says ruby ring.
I see.
The area is alive with band...
so it's... yeah, that's a good question. Is it a ring with a ruby on it, or is it a ring made out of ruby?
I assume the latter, just from the description, since it's just a ruby ring. So, but it could be the former. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be quite the difficult process of making something like that.
Actually, now that I think about it, it is probably the former. The area is alive with the sound of music. Oh, sorry, bandits actually.
What?
Actually, it's bandits.
Yeah, but seriously, who would want to sing out here?
And you are forced to flee northwards, away from the place where you left Bracer tethered to a tree. You're anxious for his safety and mindful that there are still many miles to be covered before you reach Lake Vonderol, but you dare not return back for him. Then you hear something that makes you halt in your tracks. It is the sound of a horse whinnying. Your keen senses detect the warm scent of horseflesh on the air, mingling with the sharp tang of the surrounding pine trees. Hopeful that it is Bracer, escaped from the brigands and come to find you, you push through the densely packed trees until you stumble upon a clearing. Here you discover that it is not Bracer after all. You have found the brigands' horses. They are unguarded and you cannot sense their owners close by, but even so you take every care not to startle them. Silently you untether one of the stallions and lead him away from the rest of the horses, along a trail which is covered with fresh tracks, and soon you come to a wider trail which winds away to the north. Here you mount the horse and set off along this rocky trail, but you have gone little more than half a mile when you smell something that makes you rein your new horse to a halt. From a wooded gully away to your right, you detect the scent of death being carried on the afternoon breeze. Do you wish to investigate the gully or avoid it?
Any suggestions?
Investigate.
Yeah, let's go see what smells of death.
The horse refuses to approach
again, what was it we agreed that death must smell like?
You're about to find out. The horse refuses to approach the tree, so you dismount and tether him to a boulder before investigating the wooded gully on foot. Beyond the perimeter of trees you discover a clearing where a score of shallow graves are clustered in a circle. You scrape away some of the stones and earth from the nearest grave and uncover the corpse of a man clad in mouldering red robes. A black hood trimmed with skeletal insignia identifies him to have once been an acolyte of Vashna. He and his brothers were attacked, robbed and murdered by the brigands when they passed this way some weeks earlier. This clearing is where they disposed of the bodies. Do you wish to search the corpse or to leave the graveyard and return to the trail?
Let us search the corpse.
Let us leave those two alone. They haven't done anything to us.
Warlord?
Let's search the corpse, just in case.
With your teeth clenched tightly against the fearful stench that is arising from the grave, you scrape away the remaining earth and stone and begin to search through the corpse's robes. There is little of value to be found here, nothing that the brigands have not already picked over. You're about to abandon this unpleasant task when suddenly you notice something protruding from the corpse's boot. It's a hexagonal token engraved with strange symbols. It is made from the same black metallic substance as the amulet given to you by President Kadarian. You decide to keep this item. Keep this black token as a special item.
Let me see.
Having satisfied your curiosity, you leave the graveside and return to your horse, eager to continue your journey as quickly as you can. Throughout the afternoon, the rocky trail descends through an unlovely landscape of shale hills and cracks topped with thorny brambles. It is difficult terrain, but you ride passes without incident. Shortly before dusk, you come to the top of a ridge and catch your first glimpse of the River Storn and the snow-capped peaks of the southern Dern Cracks beyond. The elation of having come this far is sobered when you see that the distant sky is changing rapidly, and only a slender streak of light fringes the horizon. A storm is closing in. As you make the long gradual descent towards the river, the air becomes humid and dark clouds appear overhead. The turmoil of moisture quickly charges the atmosphere. Lightning flashes without warnings from the clouds to the earth and arcs skyward again, its energy echoing in a slow roll of thunder. Then the heavens open and a deluge of rain saturates the land. You calm your startled horse and urge him through the pouring rain, praying all the while that you will be able to find shelter before night closes in. You're within a mile of the river when the darkness is almost complete. Yet aided by your keen vision, you're able to make out two places that can offer some degree of shelter from the storm. The first is a cone-shaped stone hut perched near the river's edge. The second is a rocky hollow close to the trail. Which one of these do you wish to take shelter in?
The hollow?
Yeah, I don't want to go into a hut in case there's someone there. It might be one of the brigands' huts.
Yeah, it might just be someone who don't want us to interrupt their sleep or meal or whatever. So yeah, let's take the hollow.
The hollow is damp and draughty and offers poor protection against the elements. There's little foliage on which to feed your mount, and the incessant storm winds howl through the gaps in the rock, making it impossible for you to sleep.
God damn it!
During this long and uncomfortable night, you eat something. I don't know what. Shortly before dawn, the storm dies down.
Look, a rock!
Yeah. Shortly before dawn, the storm dies down. You are able to snatch an hour's sleep. Unfortunately, it's insufficient rest to refresh you fully. You lose 3 endurance points. So that's like 5 days and you only gotten 1 hour of sleep.
For goodness sake. We should probably not have gotten here, but if it was not for the ancient evil rising again, I would suggest we ride back, sleep for a week, and then come back again.
In the cold light of dawn, you see that the River Storn is too deep and fast-flowing to be fordable at this point. The trail follows the river downstream, so you decide to follow it in the hope of finding somewhere to cross. 2 miles later, you happen upon such a place. At a point where the river slows and widens, you find a crude rope ferry has been erected. It comprises 2 rafts attached to 2 long lengths of rope, which is suspended above the river. A crossing can be achieved by boarding a raft and pulling on guided rope to haul it across to the opposite bank. And there's a picture of this. There we go. You wait and observe that area for a few minutes. When you feel sure that it is safe to proceed, you place your horse aboard a raft and begin the laborious task of pulling yourself across to the distant shore. Roll the die.
8.
You are nearing the middle of the river when your acute hearing detects the cawing of birds in the far distance. At first you dismiss the sounds, thinking they are probably birds of prey feeding somewhere high in the mountain, but when the cawing rapidly grows louder, you look upwards to try to detect where it's coming from. You do not have to look very far. 1,000 feet above you, a flock of ugly black birds are cawing excitedly as they ride a thermal air current. You recognize them to be Derncrag scavengers, cruel predators native only to these mountains. Then, with an awful suddenness, they come diving towards you, screeching like demons as they prepare to strike with beak and claw. The birds attack at such a tremendous speed that you dismiss the idea of using a bow. Swiftly, you draw your weapon. It has barely cleared its sheath when the first of the scavengers swoop in for the kill. You are forced to release your grip on the guide rope and step back a few paces, for you are not the target of their attack. They are after your horse. We are now finding the Derncrag scavengers. Right.
Okay. Nothing much.
Right. Give me a roll a die.
4.
Okay. With a mighty swing of your sword, several birds fly dead through the air into the river. Then one flies past and scratches you. You lose 2 endurance points.
Ow.
Roll the die again.
3.
Okay. With several mighty swings, you carve open bird after bird, clipping their wings, chopping them in half, and endure a few scratches in the process. You lose 2 endurance points. But afterwards, your grim task is completed. You have won. The few scavengers that survived the attack wheel away and return to the mountains, cawing with frustrations, their wings bloodied and their hunger unsatiated. You manage to regain... What?
And we have done all this while suffering from sleep deprivation.
Yep. That you have. The few... you manage to regain control of the raft, and at length you reach the far side of the river and disembark safely. A stony trail runs along the bank heading north, and you follow it with high hopes of reaching Lake Von Darol before sunset. All day the sun blazes supreme in the cloudless sky, and waves of heat creates a shimmering, distorted view of the trail ahead. The distant horizon is streaked with myriad colors, and the dry air crackles with electricity, a legacy of last night's violent storm. Late in the afternoon, you come to the ruins of an ancient settlement, and stop here to allow your horse to rest a while in the shade. You leave the ancient settlement and continue your ride along the sun-baked river trail. As dusk approaches, you keep a weather eye open for the signs of a storm. Clouds are rapidly forming over the mountains to the east, and the metallic smell of ozone is strong on the evening breeze. In the middle distance, you see a large herd of vithas. These timid goat-like mountain animals are rarely seen at this time of the year, yet here are more than 200 of them drinking at the river's edge. You sense that they are nervous and confused. The eerie weather has disrupted their natural migration instinct, and they have descended to the river at season earlier than is usual. Suddenly there's a flash of lightning, and a mighty clap of thunder explodes in the sky overhead. The herd scatters in all directions, terrified by the noise. Then an incredible ball of light shoots down from the heavens and hits the trail, scattering stones like shrapnel and leaving a huge smoking crater in its wake. You pull your horse off the trail and run with the fleeing Vithas herd as more of the lightning bolts streak down from the stormy sky. Weird weather!
I'm really getting sick and tired of this. I'm just reminded of that old Gaulish guy from the Asterix, where there was this part in the movie where he was being chased by lightning all over the village before he actually found shelter.
A lightning ball is hurtling directly towards you. Desperately, you pull your horse away to avoid being hit by the fiery meteor. Desperately, you pull your horse away to avoid being hit, but the fiery meteor changes course in mid-flight, as if guided by an unseen hand. Yeah, okay, so it is like that.
Fuck. Okay, this is just absurd.
You make one last attempt to dodge it, but to no avail. It impacts upon the hilt of the summer sword, and you are thrown from the saddle amidst a shower of sparks. Gunnar, roll the die.
Okay, 1.
You lose 1 endurance point.
Okay, now we are playing dodgeball with an unknown force we have no idea what can do. Oh yeah, of course it's best now, some of his minions, but seriously. And by the way, our health status is 26 health.